Honestly, the dual brackets of the UEFA Champions League this year, to be perfectly, are nothing short of breathtakingly dramatic. But if you observe closely, you will notice that the familiar motif of the Champions League from recent years is repeating itself with surgical precision. It is the classic structural division, one heavyweight bracket of death and one breathable path of opportunity. This disparity isn't necessarily because the teams are clearly divided into strong or weak categories in a vacuum. Rather, it is the difference of each branch's level of internal competition. We saw this crystal clear about 3 years ago. Manchester City was forced to navigate a path made of thorns and jagged glass, systematically overcoming RB Leipzig. Then the Bavarian giants Bayern Munich, and finally, the kings of the competition, Real Madrid. Meanwhile, Inter Milan found themselves on a significantly lighter path, facing Porto, then Benfica, before a semi-final against an AC Milan side that, at the time, was no longer the terrifying European force of old. Consequently, we ended up with a final that, on paper, appeared somewhat lopsided in terms of tactical evolution. But football is never that simplistic. A lighter path does not inherently mean the teams are weak. It simply means the historical friction is lower. Conversely, surviving a hard path provides no guarantee of lifting the trophy. It often leaves a team physically and mentally depleted. Ultimately, everything returns to raw strength and psychological fortitude during those final 90 minutes. The beauty of this recurring motif is that it flings the door wide open for underdogs or sleeping giants to venture deep into the tournament, perhaps even grazing the silver handles of the trophy. It provides the narrative, the financial windfall, and the unadulterated drama that the world craves. Returning to this current season, as the balls were drawn, many wondered if the script would repeat. The answer is yes, but with a nuanced twist. The stratification between the two branches still exists, but it is no longer as blatant. It is blurrier, more unpredictable, and for that reason, far more dangerous. Chupima. Let us be blunt. This is the bracket of the Grand Masters. There is no room here for whimsical fairy tales or romantic notions of the underdog. There is no space for simply playing well. In this half of the draw, if you do not possess the historical stature to withstand the crushing atmospheric pressure of the Champions League, you will be ground into dust. Look no further than the clash between Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool. This is a head-on collision between two different philosophical worlds. PSG enters this match with a collective aura that feels fundamentally different from their previous, star-studded but disjointed iterations. They are no longer a mere collection of individual icons. They are evolving into a structured, rhythmic, and highly organized machine. Their 8-2 aggregate demolition of Chelsea was not just a result. It was a geopolitical statement in footballing terms. It signaled that PSG has found its rhythm, and when this version of Paris is in sync, they fear absolutely no one. However, the problem, the monumental obstacle, is that they are facing Liverpool. When we talk about Champions League DNA, Liverpool is the gold standard. They possess a psychological immunity to pressure that defies logic. Liverpool can be erratic in the Premier League, dropping points to relegation candidates and looking sluggish on a rainy Saturday. But the moment they step onto the European stage, they undergo a metamorphosis. They transform into a different entity entirely. They can play poorly in an away leg, but the combination of Liverpool, Anfield, and a Champions League night remains the most terrifying boss fight in football. Their ability to recover and execute Galatasaray proved a vital point. This club was biologically engineered for these specific types of high-stakes nights. Thus, we have a fascinating juxtaposition. On one side, a PSG team desperate to prove they have finally matured, that they are no longer the fragile nouveau riche. On the other side, a Liverpool team that feels they have nothing to prove because they have inhabited these moments for decades. This is not just a tactical battle of chess pieces. It is a battle of heritage, of memory, and of who is more comfortable breathing the thin air of elite pressure. Chapter to Damas. If PSG versus Liverpool is a battle for contemporary validation, then Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich is a sacred historical epic. This is the kind of fixture where the mere mention of the names evokes the smell of the grass at the Bernabeu and the Allianz Arena. Real Madrid enters as the de facto kings, having just dismantled Manchester City 5-1 on aggregate. a chilling reminder that they remain the ultimate final boss of this competition. It doesn't matter what their domestic form looks like. When the Champions League anthem plays, Real Madrid becomes a cold, ruthless, and hyper-pragmatic entity. But Bayern Munich is their perfect aesthetic and historical rival. Their 10-2 annihilation of Atalanta suggests they are in a state of red alert danger. Bayern is one of the very few clubs in the world that can walk onto the pitch against Real Madrid without an iota of an inferiority complex. They have the history, they have the grit, and they have the European nights large enough to counterbalance the weight of the white shirt. The brilliance of this matchup lies in the fact that it doesn't feel like a quarterfinal. It carries the weight of a semifinal, or even a final, held prematurely. These are the two empires you must eventually pass if you wish to claim the crown. This year, destiny has simply accelerated the timeline. In this bracket, the margin for error is non-existent. You cannot afford a lapse in concentration. You cannot have a soft 15 minutes. You cannot hope that being slightly better will suffice. Here, you must be perfect, or at the very least, you must be a master of survival. The attraction of this bracket isn't its balance, but its suffocating tension. Each round is a miniature final. To take one step forward, you must trample over another established dynasty. Whoever emerges from this gauntlet will likely arrive at the final as a battle-hardened, terrifying version of themselves. While the first bracket is where empires collide, the second bracket is, quite literally, the land of opportunity. There is no immortal king standing guard here. No team in this half possesses 10 or 14 trophies. And because of that, this is where history is waiting to be written by someone brave enough to seize it. The clash between Barcelona and Atletico Madrid presents two violent extremes of Spanish football. Barcelona is currently in a state of offensive euphoria. Their 8-3 aggregate destruction of Newcastle United was an alarm bell for the rest of Europe. Their defensive structure might still be porous, but their attack is essentially uncontrollable. With talents like Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, and the evergreen Lewandowski, every Barca match becomes a high-speed whirlwind of goals. However, the greatest enemy of Barcelona is often Barcelona itself. They are a team that always gives the opponent a window of hope. They are capable of scoring 4, but they are equally capable of conceding 2 or 3 in a moment of tactical madness. In a knockout environment, that is a double-edged sword that can easily slip. Facing them is an Atletico Madrid side that has seen it all. They might not be the team that provides the most aesthetic pleasure to the neutral viewer, but make no mistake, when it comes to raw resilience, Diego Simeone's squad is second to none. They may not have won the trophy yet, but years of reaching the deep end of the Champions League have forged a specific kind of dark arts grit. Their 7-5 aggregate win over Tottenham proves they can survive a chaotic shootout and turn a microscopic advantage into a fortress. The tie between Sporting CP and Arsenal tells a different story entirely. On paper, Arsenal is the overwhelming favorite and the brightest light of this bracket. Their ascent has been a masterpiece of long-term planning, evolving from a team of talented but naive youngsters into a structured, identity-driven collective that knows how to dictate the tempo of a game. Their 3-1 aggregate win over Bayer Leverkusen showed that their maturity is now a tangible fact, no longer just potential. But therein lies the danger. Because Arsenal is the team to beat in this half, the psychological pressure shifted entirely onto their shoulders. They are no longer in the learning phase. This is the moment where they are forced to prove they are large enough to inhabit a Champions League final. Across from them, Sporting CP represents the ultimate trap opponent. They lack the global glamour and the multi-million-dollar marketing, but their ability to overturn a deficit and crush Bodo/Glimt 5-0 in extra time speaks volumes. This is a team with an elite capacity for suffering. They are organized, disciplined, and incredibly stubborn in moments of high tension. They don't need 70% possession to hurt you. They only need to make the game as uncomfortable and ugly as possible for their opponent. If the other bracket is about defeating old empires to move forward, this bracket is about proving you have what it takes to become a new empire. It is a quest for legitimacy. Let us look ahead to the potential semi-final scripts. When we survey the landscape, the contrast is stark. In the power bracket, we have the Titans, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, PSG, and Liverpool. Any semi-final combination from this group will be dripping with historical baggage and personal vendettas. These are the four most successful or most ambitious names in European football. It is the heavyweight bracket of titles. On one side, the defending champions. On the others, the traditional gatekeepers of European glory. As Bernardo Silva profoundly noted after Manchester City's heart-wrenching loss to Real Madrid, the concept of strong versus weak in the Champions League is often an illusion. In a domestic league, the better team wins 95% of the time over 38 games. But in the Champions League, it is a psychological drama. It is about a single moment, a gust of wind, a split-second decision, factors that cannot be measured by data or heat maps. These variables are what make the competition sacred. You never know who will manifest the decisive moment of magic. In the opportunity bracket, the narrative is equally compelling. The footballing world is salivating at the prospect of a dream semi-final between Barcelona and Arsenal. One side represents the traditional fire of attacking football. The other is more balanced, more structural, and more controlled. Both were once seen as having identical philosophies, but they have branched off into two different evolutionary paths, only to potentially meet on the grandest stage of them all. But for that dream script to materialize, they must first bypass the great disruptors. Atletico Madrid and Sporting CP are not teams that exist to be passed through. They are the ultimate litmus tests for the ambitions of Barcelona and Arsenal. They are the gatekeepers who demand to know if you are truly ready for the crown. This is the crowning glory of the current season. Regardless of which bracket you follow, the potential for high-octane semifinal pairings is absolute. Each side of the draw carries its own unique color, its own specific flavor of trauma and triumph, but they both lead to a singular point: absolute, unmitigated drama. One bracket will produce a battle-hardened survivor from the halls of European royalty. The other will produce a hungry, ambitious force looking to etch its name into the history books for the first time, or the first time in a generation. When these two survivors eventually meet in the final, the clash will be more than just a game. It will be the culmination of two entirely different journeys. And that, fundamentally, is why we love this game. The stage is set, the empires are ready, and the kings of tomorrow are waiting in the wings. Let the war begin.